Hi everyone, Mike Napoleon here with SuperSpeed Golf. I want to talk about a really exciting player that we've had the chance to work with over about the last month or so, Maxwell Moldovan. So, I mean, Max is playing at Ohio State right now, and he is just absolutely lighting it up on the side of speed and power. So today, I want to take a little look at Max's swing. I want to show everybody some of the things that we're working on with Max in order to really kind of take his speed to the next level. So let's just jump right in. First of all, I can go ahead and just show you what his swing looks like. Obviously, high-level player here, good collegiate golfer. You know, great width on the takeaway, really powerful as we go down through the swing. And I just want to kind of highlight a couple things that, I really like about what Max does. I think he's aggressive in the way he brings the club away, and I think this creates a sensation for him to be able to create a powerful transition. And if you talk to Max, he's trying to create power really rotationally in his golf swing, is the way he feels it and what he's trying to do. Now, a couple things that we do find that, just kind of pop out right away. And I would say some of that has to do with like the way his lead foot moves in the golf swing. You can see that very, very early on in the motion, that inside of that foot's coming up and off the ground. And that kind of clued us in that there may be some stuff going on here for Max that we could really improve on the side of ground reaction force. Now, obviously, here at SuperSpeed, we have a lot of great drills that we use, but we got to figure out exactly which one of those drills we need to use before we're going to just hop into that process. So let me go ahead now and pull up some of the ground force data that we got on Max using Smart to Move dual 3D force plates here. Overall, again, lots of good stuff, but as we might expect from what we saw in the video there, as we move through the swing, first of all, lateral force on his trail leg is very, very low. So he actually kind of has a little bit of a double peak here. As you can see, that's kind of the effective lateral force right there, about 7.5% or so of body weight in transition. And then because of how his front foot's moving, he kind of has to push again laterally with the trail foot later in the process. It still doesn't go up a lot, but that's kind of an interesting characteristic there that we'll see when somebody's not using their lead foot very well. So essentially, whatever lateral force he is creating, we're not getting a lot of use of as, in actually transitioning to that lead foot as it's rolling out. Now, if we continue, and these are all the, by the way, these are the swings from before we worked. Here's another one that I think is really important, and this is anterior posterior force really on both feet, but I'm looking here primarily at that lead leg and that number there that you see that says -18 on the data. So what this is representing is how much force Max is able to push toward the golf ball with his lead foot. Now, this is an incredibly important piece of the puzzle for Max, and because his foot's rolling up on the outside, we're not getting nearly as much of that push toward the ball that's going to really help create rotational torque. Now remember, Max is trying to create speed. He wants to create speed. He feels like he's creating speed mostly by rotating. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's having to actually overwork trying to rotate his body to create speed because he's not getting as much of it from the ground. Now we'll see this same result as we look at rotational torque, where he's only about 75 or so percent of body weight. It's pretty low, 76% of body weight for somebody that's as powerful as Max is in the swing. Not shockingly, we also see some stuff in the vertical force that we'd like to improve. The way that lead foot's pushing just makes it really difficult to max this all out. I think our peaks here, we're right around 87% of body weight on the lead foot in vertical force and right around 140% total when we combine both feet. So we're going to hope to see some big improvements there as we go through. Now, let me just show you real quick where we were when we started. And this is pretty typical for Max. I mean, all these swings, as you can see here in this initial little segment where we were doing some before testing, right in that like 170 ball speed range. High 160s, low 170s is very typical for Max, with a club speed of about 112, 113. Now, this kid hits it solid. I mean, he does a great job of putting the club on the ball, hitting it in the center of the face all the time with pretty good characteristics. So he's still getting a lot out of this. But, you know, we're looking to see some big jumps in those speeds. Okay, well, the next thing I want to talk about are some of the different things that we did with Max in his program in order to really start working on this. So the way we tackled this, number one, we really started to go after that lateral force piece in the trail side. You know, we were getting just a little bit of like sway in the trail knee. We were getting a, you know, outside of the foot point of application of force. Just a slight amount of those sway pieces, and then he's kind of getting stuck back on that side because we're not pushing hard enough, you know, backwards in order to get the body propelling forward. And again, I think that's theoretically one of the reasons that he feels like he has to try to rotate so hard, because he's really not using the ground to help him. So if I kind of look at some of those drills, we're going to be doing some drills here where we put a force pedal under the inside heel of the trail foot, making Max really push into that as hard as he can as he's taking backswings. We're going to be doing drills like lateral bounding. We did golf skaters with Max. It's another really important one when you're having some of those deficiencies in lateral force. And then we're going to start to apply this directly into the actual swing. And one of the drills that we did with Max that he really liked was a rocker drill, where we're actually pushing back and forth with both feet, trying to get that feel of pushing with that trail foot, you know, away from the target, so it's going to propel us back toward the target. All of those drills were pretty simple. I mean, I think we went through that process of actually training drills for about maybe 30 minutes with Max, and then we saw some huge results. So let me go ahead and back out of this swing. And I'm going to go to one of our swings that we did after we did the training. And I just want to show you what's possible when you work on the right kind of drills and what kind of jumps you can see right away with all of this. So if I go ahead and you know, put this in, here's our lateral force again. Now, if you notice, we worked on lateral force a good bit here. You know, Max, you know, as we're starting transition now, is getting up in that 15 to 18 range of lateral force production relative to body weight. Now, that's a huge jump. I mean, that's doubled. That has literally doubled in the just little bit of time that we started working. Now, obviously, habitually, Max is still going to be wanting to move that lead foot, you know, because you know, the second half of drills that we did with Max were trying to work on the lead foot. And this day one stuff, that was a little bit harder for him. He was getting the trail side stuff really, really well. The lead foot stuff, you know, was taking a little bit more because that required a little more coordination. And that was a bigger change for him as far as how that lead foot was going to move in the golf swing. Now, take a look at some of these. Let's look at that AP force here. So how much we're able to create more push toward the ball with that lead foot's going to be a huge piece for helping Max here. Now, if you notice, before we were at right around like 17% of body weight on the lead foot, we're up to 32 now. So again, almost doubling how much he's able to push toward the ball with that lead foot. Also notice, if you look at the video there, that foot's still in a better position. It's a little later when he's starting to do that big roll toward the outside of his foot. Big changes here in just a very short amount of time. As you can expect, we got some pretty big jumps in rotational torque. We got up over 120%, you know, Newton meters to mass. That's a big change in just a very short amount of time. Also, as you can probably expect, we got some big jumps in vertical force because all of those other things are working together. So now he went up to 119% of body weight on the lead foot and 174% of body weight total between the feet. I mean, those are just massive, massive gains that we saw right away because we did some of the right drills. Now, how did we apply this to the lead foot to get that kind of jump in speed right away? Well, one of the big things we did here was, again, take force pedals, go on the inside ball of that lead foot, and have Max really work on trying to smash that hard into the ground during transition. You know, that's a drill that we love here at SuperSpeed. It's in our ground reaction force protocols. We also did some other things like reverse jumps, getting him to just feel that idea of pushing down into the ground more aggressively in the swing. All right, well, last thing I want to show you is, well, what happened to the club speed and ball speed here? Well, here's some of our swings that we had after doing that training. So as you can see, got some big jumps in club speed, up in that like 117 range, mid 170s ball speed. You know, those were really, really good results that we saw in just a short amount of time, about a half hour training with Max. The next thing I want to talk about is where he's gone since then. Max has done a phenomenal job over the last month putting this all together, you know, already hitting some of the goals, and we've had to reset some of those goals now for him as we move forward. You know, Max already has hit above 180 ball speed, which was one of our targets. I think his best is right in that 180, almost 182 range. Club speed wise, we've hit over 120, which was a goal. I think about 121 and a half is where we're sitting right now. Looking really forward to about 124 club speed, about 184, 185 ball speed over the next little bit. So we're really excited for all the progress that we've seen with Max over the last month. Really excited to help him get ready for you know, turning pro here after his college season ends. And man, I'm just hats off on all the good work, and you know, Max, keep up the good work.